you'd be surprised, man. Like kids who don't ever go to mass are like, I want to learn more about my religion. I want to learn more about faith. I want to know more about God. And I think the accessibility of the Bible in a year, kind of the urgency of it, like this is starting in January, you should start it, or this is starting in Lent, you should start it. Kind of motivates people to be like, yeah, I really do need to get back into my faith, and this is the threat. This is an easy threshold to get people across. That's what it is. It's number one because it's so, like, people were hating on it on Twitter. They're like, oh, it's more like the Shallow app, and I'm like, nice.
That's
I
funny.
can respect it. I can respect it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I get that you're sorry, you're so far above
so
it. Like, you don't
holy.
need
Yeah.
Hallow. You can ascend to the heights of prayer without the app. But it's if you don't see how someone could benefit from that kind of thing, then you don't understand what prayer is.
Welcome to The Crunch, the only podcast that's safe for all ages. It's your boy, Ethan.
And I'm Patrick, and this podcast is a podcast that my buddy Ethan and I started 7 years ago to talk about Catholic life and have a little fun while we do it. We're mostly here for the goofs, but we also talk about topics. Are we safe for all ages?
Well, the reason I said that is because I was going to ask you to tell them about the sheep 9/11 video that you saw.
So I saw a video today that was captioned.
Ironic.
I saw a video today that was captioned, "Huge RC Boeing 787 crashes," and it showed like the plane and then next to people and then taking off. And when you see that part of the video, the plane crashing is like no big deal. A wing comes off, which is normal for a model plane.
Right, these are model planes.
I cut it so that you only see the plane flying in the air. So to you, it looks like a normal sized plane.
Look like
that the wing just comes off and it starts spiraling towards the ground. You're like, am I watching hundreds of people die?
Because it's also it's a little grainy, so it looks kind of like early 2000s. So you're like, what is this, a new angle that I haven't seen?
What's going on?
What's about to happen?
And then it crashes in a field next to a bunch of sheep, and so you're like, oh, it's a model plane. But I sent it to Ethan, and I had to voice memo it because I couldn't type. I was laughing so hard, but I was like, do you think to those sheep, that's like their 9/11? Jet fuel doesn't melt steel wool.
It's pretty good.
That was a pretty good joke, wasn't it?
Pretty funny joke. Yeah. Oh man.
9/11 for sheep.
Yeah, which is just the normal
9/11. Yeah,
the normal 9/11. Oh man, it was funny. It was a great way to start my morning. Because here's what happens with me and Patrick and our relationship is like one of us will text the other one something like really important or meaningful about the nature of our business, and the other one will respond with sheep 9/11. And so nothing ever actually gets done. There's a lot of information being communicated, but I don't think there's anything that's like sinking in other than the videos, and what all.
I do hope we are safe for the little ears, because we were at the ministry fair at our parish.
Was it Harry Potter?
We were at the ministry.
What are you?
Instead of
Grindelwald?
Miss me with that Grindelwald looking.
Oh man, Philosopher's Stone.
No. Anyway,
what? You were at the ministry fair and you were enrobed with your family.
I was gonna do a she joke with Harry Potter, but I couldn't think of one in time.
That's okay. That's fine. You did your best.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're all proud.
So instead of just coffee and donuts at Mass this week, we had coffee and donuts, and every ministry had a table. So like our young adult ministry was there and all this fun stuff.
Right.
And one of our good friends that has a bunch of old kids, a fellow Franny, she was tabling for the American Heritage Girls, which, if you don't know, is Girl Scouts but based. Have you heard of these?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
love.
Joan of Arc to your Greta Thunberg, if you will.
Yes. I do
Yes.
love the American Heritage. As a future girl dad, as a current girl dad,
Ah,
I am looking for I am
ah.
looking forward to the I'm looking forward to them learning about how to reading Mulieris Dignitatem and
Mm,
learning how to build a fireplace instead of learning how to push cookies and have abortions. So,
yes.
that's
Do
I
they do the Heritage Girls do the HGs have some kind of substitute snack that I can purchase, or is it just I have to support them because they're women?
I don't know if this is nationwide,
Uh-huh.
but they do have like an affiliate thing
Mm.
with a fundraiser thing with Sock Religious.
Okay. I
They were
can't
selling
eat
Sock
socks,
Religious.
so I need you to
Skill issue.
to take that, take it back. What is it? I'm thinking. What is it? Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka. They had to like boil his socks or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
I do
I have
that
this
is
like
burned
just
in the back of my
yeah
brain.
this distinct memory of like him coming home and his mom's cooking clothes for dinner, and
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
like,
that
man,
might
that's
be
how
from
you
a different.
know. That's how you know that I'm like I've never really been like English poor. You know, as I've never had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
sleep in the same bed as my 4 grandpas and eat a sock for dinner.
There were women there, okay,
Well,
man.
I don't remember.
Uh,
It's been a
yeah.
while
So
since I've seen the
they're
movie.
selling socks or something. Anyway,
Yeah,
so I was talking to Carrie, and her two daughters were there. One's in high school, one is in middle school, maybe young high
yeah.
school. I don't know. And they were talking about the Instagram, and the younger one of the two girls, oh my gosh, I love the dancing reel. And I was like, and the other girl was
The
like, oh
one
my
of
gosh, yeah, we
you.
watch it all the time. The one of me,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And it's always like, oh, that's so cool. They watch the reel. I like when the young ones think that we're cool.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I can imagine that you do.
I'm happy that that is because sometimes I fear that we're only cool to the olds, and I go, oh
Yeah.
no,
What
you
the
know.
olds? Who is older than us that thinks that we're cool?
No, I mean, a lot. Sometimes when we get DMs from people, for instance, our good friend, I forgot her name. What
Jody.
the Jan
Jody.
Jody
Yeah. Yeah.
Jody? It's like Jody and other our other friends who are nameless that are old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That they're like they're older than us, and they're like
That's
these young
true.
guys. I like what they're doing, as
Right.
opposed to like
Katie
I feel
Ruby,
like I'm
Luke
a part.
Carey, those types of
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
Luke Carey looks like he's been losing some weight. You seen pictures of him
I
recently?
have not seen pictures of him recently. Is there a way? Is there a website that I can go to access these photographs of Luke Carey?
Facebook.com/
I
Luke
don't,
Carey.
I don't know if I'm friends with Luke on Facebook. He's posting pictures
I
of
don't me
himself.
either, actually. He has a photo of him he has his face on the book. He's not doesn't have a picture of a
I
Corvette
don't understand. I don't
like
understand the
some of
website.
us.
Yeah,
So the younger one of the two is like the high schooler
yeah.
is like, oh, I love the videos, all that stuff. And then I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then we leave, and Phoebe's like looking at me. And I was like, what? She's like, you better be careful. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, what if she likes the Instagram? What if she listens to the podcast? What if she hears you make a joke about Ethan saying that you have a big, that you're a
What
thick
did I
rope?
say?
Huh?
Oh, okay.
The
That
thick
was
rope thing?
that was not that was not
What if
nearly as bad
what if
as it
she
was
hears
portrayed in the media.
what if she hears the joke about the captcha for in the Jewish neighborhood? What if she hears that joke? Patrick, what if she hears it? And I was like, I don't know. I hope Carrie doesn't let their kids listen to our podcast, but I mean,
Yeah,
her
me
husband
too.
listens to Catching Foxes. So,
Yeah,
man, we really are the mom
that's
cast.
really gosh, that's so
Catching
funny,
Foxes BF, Crunch GF.
dude.
That's us.
I don't think we're that bad. I don't think we have too many things.
No,
You
we're
know,
definitely
going.
not that bad.
No,
We're
no.
definitely not that bad.
Yeah, I don't have. This
If
doesn't
she's on
happen to me.
Instagram,
Yeah, like what
if
else is
she's
she
on
seeing?
Instagram.
Yeah. I don't have high schoolers coming up to me saying I love your podcast. So maybe I'm doing
It
something
hasn't
wrong.
happened in a while for me.
Maybe the demographics are different, you know?
Yeah, maybe the
In
demographics are different. I am
Florida?
still around. I'm still doing
That's true.
youth ministry adjacent things. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was like, I should bring some stickers to the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And Phoebe goes, no, don't let them listen to your podcast. I think
Wait,
Phoebe thinks our podcast is worse than it is.
Wait, hold on. Does she think that
What?
we're like scandalously inappropriate?
I think maybe
you've told me that
might
she
be
doesn't
my fault.
listen. So how does she know?
Yeah. It's the only thing she knows about the podcast is what I have told her about the podcast.
Oh, I see.
So I've only ever told her the funniest jokes,
Right.
the cream of the crop,
Yeah.
or the most memorable ones, right?
The
And
creme
so
de la
those tend to
creme.
be the edgier ones. And so
Yeah.
I think she might have this colored impression of.
Right.
Anyway, welcome to the Crunch.
Welcome to the Crunch.
We're
I mean,
hanging
this
out.
isn't even. You guys don't even see, like, when I text Patrick a joke about the Dune popcorn holder or a joke about Ash Wednesday. These are things that I could never say on the podcast, but I know that he will find delectable. Maybe on the bonus show. Have you
seen that?
I'll
Have you seen that
those.
picture? Have you seen that video of like everyone? It's the War Dogs movie. You ever see that movie with Jonah Hill and that one kid?
Oh yeah. Where they sell
Where they're
ammunition.
getting they sell ammunition. They do it illegally, then they get arrested.
And
It's like slow motion. The FBI's leading them out, and it's like when my group chat screenshots get leaked. It's like me and the boys on the group chat screenshots get leaked.
Yeah, but it would be
It's true,
Father
though.
Mike Schmitz taking us to jail.
Dastardly things going down in the DMs.
Yeah,
He's like, that's
just you and me.
I'll take that for talking about me pooping.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I do think there's a cool conversation to be had, because someone, Riley Sharapa, said that you and me could never be on Hallow because of my political opinions.
She did say that.
She did say that.
Noted Crunch super fan Riley Sharapa.
Noted realtor Riley Sharapa.
If you want to buy a home,
sorry that I had to
Pittsburgh,
whip out the
Pennsylvania.
R word.
Hard R on the back end.
Hard R realtor. But this was interesting because Hallow has been posting about their whole "we're the #1 application in the world for the iOS iPhone.com."
Take the victory lap, man.
100%.
Objectively an incredible achievement. He's absolutely right. Temu has 10,000 employees. Half of them are children that work in sweatshops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can only assume. And Hallow has 80. That's insane. They did that. First of all, this just shows you how much administrative glut there is in most companies.
Right.
But you can build. I mean, they built something that's at the top of the charts for less money and less. It's so good.
This is what I want to talk about today, kind of, because I think it's interesting, and I don't know what it means. We
could be on Hallow, by the way.
Why?
Hello.
I think UFOs are real, and you think we could be on Hallow.
Jim Caviezel thinks UFOs are real, and he's on Hallow.
Does he?
Jim Caviezel is a noted conspiracy theorist. Jim Caviezel has been on talk shows where he talks about adrenochrome. All right, Jim Caviezel is pilled. It's pretty intense. The left does not like Jim Caviezel. He was in the child trafficking movie.
I did not find anything about Jim Caviezel UFOs, but I did see a podcast definition that says Trump is the new Moses, says fake Jesus Jim Caviezel. So he's got that going on.
So they don't.
That's from the podcast The Daily Zeitgeist.
Well, I mean, he's fake. Fake Jesus is not a burn. He was acting in the movie.
He was in a film with UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
He did. So he's got that.
Yeah, he did play. He was fake Jesus, but like everyone knew that, right? You all knew that.
You're telling me the guy there weren't actually cameras there 2,000 years ago?
The first and only subtitle.
They didn't have boom mics at the crucifixion. That was all. You're telling me that was faked on a soundstage?
That's how Peter lobbed off that guy's ear. He just took the boom arm and went swap.
America never crucified on the moon or whatever. It's
nice.
Fake.
Yeah.
I couldn't get there.
I think Jim Caviezel might think the moon landing is fake.
Okay,
he might.
That would.
But
we should
Jim
try.
Caviezel is pilled.
We should try to get him on the podcast.
Dude, do you remember when Jim Caviezel showed up at Seek?
Yes.
That was a crazy. it was just 30 minutes of just
Yeah,
unhinged. The man was struck by lightning twice. All right, his
he was.
brain.
He was. He's got
He
more than a lifetime of AirPods to the dome of brain damage,
it's
potentially.
insane. And allegedly. And so
Allegedly.
I'm not I think what I'm saying is if Jim Caviezel can be on
Yeah.
Hallow, what does he
Yeah.
have that we don't?
Liam Neeson's on Hallow. I remember
What
that
does
big
Liam
thing.
Neeson have that we don't?
A cool accent. This is the problem. Is we're white, but we don't have anything cool about us. We're lame
That's
whites.
true. That's true. And I don't know if you've been listening to the show, you may be used to it by now, but I've got like a weird like nasally voice type.
I do
It's just in the
too.
back of it, you know? No,
Yeah.
I like
We
your
both
voice. Your voice
I
is
have a
deeper than mine.
I got this big old and it kind of
He's got a big old
makes it a bit.
schnoz.
Here's what I'm trying to say.
Maybe if I
I
tried
think it's
mewing,
I'm going to
I would have a
breeze
better
past
voice.
that. If anyone out there has a connection to Jim Caviezel, please let us know because I'd love to have him on the show.
I just want to hear him.
That's actually my new goal for 2024. Forget
Just
everything
let him
else.
go. Just let him talk.
Yes. So I wanted to talk about the Hallow thing because I think it's interesting. Number one, Hallow only ran that ad in 15 media markets, so we didn't see
Really?
we didn't see it in Oklahoma City, or at least with the whatever bootlegged Paramount Plus thing
Yeah.
that we were watching it on. So we didn't see it. So I was all prepped because it was this big hype coming up. Like, oh, the Hallow, there's going to be Catholic prayer at the Super Bowl, And so I was every commercial I was watching, clutching my beads, fruitlessly hoping for something that did not come. And then everyone's like, oh, that was a great ad, whatever. So even they got the response that they got only in 15 media markets, which I presume are probably the 15 biggest media markets, is I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably hit New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Pittsburgh, maybe.
Melbourne,
Who knows?
Florida.
Melbourne, Florida, Orlando, Miami, Anaheim, California,
Aruba, Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Ooh,
And they still got to be number one on the App Store. And this reminds me of a few years ago when everyone was freaking about something being number one, the Bible in a year, number one.
yes.
Okay.
Bible in the year, number one.
Do you think, because part of me in like my cynicism, it's like the country is the least Christian that it's ever been. So is this just a result of the Christians that do exist are more likely to download a digital product? Or is there something going on that I'm not aware of? Because it feels like when he's posting this, I'm like, yeah, I see it, but I actually part of me still doesn't believe him. Like, oh yeah, that's nice. Your app was number one, but that doesn't really mean anything to me because obviously nobody is Christian anymore, So I'm like,
Sure.
I'm kind of in this state of disbelief, but also numbness of, oh yeah, we keep saying that we have these number one things and the Bible in the Year is great, Hallow's great, whatever. But is it actually doing anything? It is. I'm sure it is. But I don't know. That's kind of my perspective. What do you think?
I think that it is. I think it's very good. I think what it actually is it's that the bar is being lowered for people to be able to enter when they weren't before.
Right.
Before, if you wanted to learn about your faith, you had to kind of go to a church,
Right.
and that's not everybody's bag, right?
Yeah.
When I would invite kids to when I was a high school youth minister, I invite kids to youth group. They'd be like, "Oh, I don't really go to church," and that's for them. Going to youth group was church because
Mm-hmm.
anything that takes place at a church is church, and they're like, I don't identify as that, but you'd be surprised, man. Like kids who don't ever go to mass are like, I want to learn more about my religion. I want to learn more about faith. I want to know more about God. And I think the accessibility of the Bible in a year, kind of the urgency of it, like this is starting in January, you should start it, or this is starting in
Mm-hmm.
Lent, you
Mm-hmm.
should start it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of motivates people to be like, yeah, I really do need to get back into my faith, and this is the threat. This is an easy threshold to get people to get people across. That's what it is. It's number one because it's so like people were hating on it on Twitter. They're like, oh, it's more like the Shallow app, and I'm like, nice.
That's
I can
funny.
I can respect it. I can respect it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that you're sorry you're so far
You're
above it.
so
Like you don't
holy.
need
Yeah.
Hallow. You can
Yeah.
ascend to the heights of prayer without the app. But it's if you don't see how someone could benefit from that kind of thing, then you don't
Mm-hmm.
understand what prayer is.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
you doing things. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's God doing something, and you need to make space. And if Hallow is the way that someone makes space, like when I would teach the middle schoolers how to pray, I would have to put on instrumental music in the background because they
Mm-hmm.
can't focus
Yeah.
on they can't sit in that room because like someone's gonna snicker and they're all gonna snicker. It's a big old
Right.
gym, and so I was
Yeah.
like, this is something that's remedial. I wouldn't recommend it, but this is what we're doing. It's That's what I think Hallow is. I think it's very entry level, and it's also just fine. It's good.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that all of a sudden America is Christian again. I think we're a long way away from that.
Do you think this is the question that I have? Because it's like part of me also gets opened up to the possibilities, right? Like
Hmm.
if Hallow can be the number one app in the world for a day, even, I don't think they're going to be in the top 10 for another 2 weeks. I think there's a huge
No.
spike and then it's just going to go back to normal.
But it's
But
crazy that for even a minute, Hallow was being downloaded more times than
yeah,
TikTok.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's because everyone already has TikTok, so it
No, but
makes
it's
sense.
always number one. It's always number
That's
one.
true. Yeah,
Has a
because
billion
I guess
users.
the people downloading and deleting it and re-downloading it. Nobody's deleting and re-downloading Hallow. I'll tell you that. They leave that sucker installed. Why? Because it's not a
Mhm.
damage to their soul.
No.
But it makes me wonder. I don't think it's hard to make like a Catholic app that's not like cheesy and wacky. But there has to be this. This must mean that there has to be more that can be done. Like
Yes, it
to
does.
me, Hallow is the Lewis and Clark. If Lewis and Clark got to America 500 years after everybody else, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Uh,
Hallow's great. This should have happened 10 years ago, but we're just now
exactly.
here, and that's fine. So now it's like, okay, now that the floodgates have opened, in a certain sense, and I mean this to like big money people, because that's who can make these types of things happen. Like Hallow would not have been able to do this if they hadn't done a seed round and then a series A and then a series B. Like if they hadn't done a venture capital fundraising thing,
Yes. Yeah.
where they go to different
Hallow's not
funds.
making
Yeah.
yeah, Hallow's not making money off of monthly subscriptions. Someone's
No,
like, "Oh, it costs so
no.
much money." I'm like, "Well, it costs a lot, but you have no idea."
Right. All of that
This is how
money is
these things work.
invested, and these things are operating at a loss till eventually they maybe become profitable one day when they increase the price of their services or they get bought out by another larger company. That's like the whole model. Who knows who's going to buy Hallow? Maybe EWTN will buy Hallow, but I don't think they're liquid for that. Maybe. You don't think so?
Now the
I'm
rent
trying to
the
think.
rent in Rome,
Yeah,
property
that's true.
taxes in their Rome building is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know who would buy it. Anyway, it just makes me wonder. It makes me hopeful, but also cynical. I want there to be more of this stuff out there, but I don't want it to only be like part of me like it's great that it's being funded by big entrepreneurs and like big funds and everything, but part of me wants to just be like, why are there not like dedicated Catholic funds with money to make more Hallows? It feels like all the Catholics should get together and make a big GoFundMe for Catholic for Catholic apps and ideas and technologies.
Yeah.
It just feels this is the same thing that I see in the pro-life movement when I'm for my day job. Like
Mhm.
everybody in pro-life is just kind of doing their own thing, and because of that, like Planned Parenthood just wins every single time. Because they're like one thing that has hundreds of millions of dollars, and all the other pro-life organizations are just scattered, and like nobody's working
Yeah.
together. So it's like, what could we build if it wasn't just one guy who had a great idea for an app going and fundraising a bunch of money from Peter Thiel? You know, what if it was something else? Is that even possible? You know, it just feels like it should be.
I think there could be more things, and I think Ascension is figuring it out. Ascension,
Yeah.
I hope. I mean, I used to say this. You know, you have the win build send, right?
Oh, I know all about that. Very familiar.
The money,
Mm-hmm.
used to be in build because you have a
Mm-hmm.
dedicated market with demand, right? So the only thing you see Catholic startups doing, new Catholic companies, is uh, building curriculums
Mm-hmm.
and
Courses.
courses and uh, or starting news services, right? Um,
Right.
back in the day, it was like it was all for existing Catholics,
Mm-hmm.
and so most of the money was in build, but now it seems like there's some money in win, which is good.
Interesting.
Um, it because now there's a huge profitability
Mm-hmm.
in creating Bible in a year
Mm-hmm.
and in Hallow because you're creating Catholics, and it's like sure it can make you feel icky because it's capitalistic. Fine,
It doesn't make me
I
feel
get.
icky
I mean,
per
but
se.
it doesn't make me feel icky. It's like, oh yeah, I wish it was different. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
moving on because
Right.
it's just it is what it is, and it's like we can. It's the Catholic Church thrived in the feudal system, in the feudal economy. You know, just that is
Mm-hmm.
how it works. We're made up of people that exist in time. So,
Yeah.
but also the other thing is, it's
Yeah.
already happening. Did you know the Vatican invests in like movies and
Yeah. There's a whole
in
scandal about them investing in the Elton John movie.
yeah, and
There's
we
been a
kind of like
huge scandal for years because they invested money in an apartment building in London.
yeah, so like the Vatican and the church, I'm assuming the church in America is investing in things. Some dioceses can't handle it. They're not
Mm-hmm.
like
Like,
they're just
I don't know anything, but I'm pretty sure the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City owns land that has oil. You know,
the Diocese of
I don't.
Orlando owned a bunch of land in what is now a super highly developed area.
The
And I think
moon.
they did that on purpose. Yes.
Oh,
No. West Brevard. So like where the wetland, they bought a bunch of the wetlands west of the interstate that was not
west of
developed, and now it
Brevard.
is
Mm,
West Brevard County,
yeah. You just yeah. Sorry. Continue.
where the space program is.
Yeah, I know about
You know the
Brevard
thing
County.
that. Oh, okay, yeah. You know, like the thing that Elon. You said it. You said it like, oh, Brevard County.
No, no, no. You were explaining where it was because you said it's in West Brevard. Like they bought up all this land west, and I said of Brevard because I was just trying to be
Sorry.
silly.
West of the interstate that was not
Yeah,
developed because it was just wetlands. But now
yeah.
everyone's moving to Brevard County because Elon and Jeff put their
Well, not
space
anymore.
stuff.
Elon's moving to
Oh, where's
Texas.
it?
You see that on Twitter?
They're still launching things in Brevard County.
No, Houston, we have a problem.
That's where the launch pad is.
Listen to
I
me.
don't know what to tell you. The only place where you can go to space is here in Florida. And until that
No,
changes, we've got the
no, that's not true. The Russians did not come to Florida to go to space. There are other
in
places from which you can go
In America.
in America. That's true. Well, that we
Yeah.
know of. That we know of. There's going to
Yeah.
be,
Actually,
he's
are
going to
there
build a
launch pads in
building.
other countries?
Certainly. What do you mean?
I don't know.
India has gone to the moon, or they're trying.
I
China?
don't think they have.
Other countries have put
Chat.
things on the International Space Station.
Yes, but I think they may have all gone up there from the space shuttle.
I don't know.
I think that's true.
Then how did the Russian cosmonauts get up there to fight the Nazis?
That you're man, you need to go back to history or something. I don't know.
No, there's
How many
so you heard about the space nuke? I'm not making that up.
how many space launch sites are there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Houston,
There are
Moscow.
35 spaceports worldwide that can launch satellite or spacecraft. That's
Yeah,
satellites and spacecraft. So I don't know which ones. Okay, there's. Oh, interesting.
you can get a satellite up there from
There's.
anywhere.
That's true. That's true. I want just like shuttles though. Where did the
Sure.
shuttle? How did? Because putting people in the sky is a lot different than putting metal in the sky. Because there's
Easy to
horizontal
do.
and vertical launch sites. You know,
Yeah,
you just shoot, you
easy
just
to
throw
do.
that thing real far.
It's not hard for
It
me.
looks like horizontal launch sites are only in America. I don't know. Anyway, the only
I
place you
guess
can send
anything is
people up is in.
horizontal if you live on a globe. I guess, who knows what direction we're facing. My
Yeah.
point is,
Anyway,
I like
your
I
point
like
is
the distinction you made
Hallow.
about the build and the win and the send.
Thank
Like,
you.
I think an interesting concept would be like, what if we invested tens of millions of dollars in the send? What would that look like?
Ho 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 ho.
Because I
Sounds
think
like someone should start trying to do that.
right. Because I think there was a lot of build from the 90s up in the apologetics movement, all of that stuff. And now there's more stuff on the win because we've realized, oh man, we were so focused on the fact that none of us knew anything about Catholicism because the 20th century was such a mess that we forgot to like actually make it.
Make new ones. Yeah.
Yeah, to make new ones or like to
Yeah.
be attractive in any way to the average person.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where we fell in, like we were kind of on the early adopters on the win movement, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I would say that that's true. That's where we fall. But so there, and we've said this for a long time in private meetings and in public. Like there needs to be more things like us and like our friend John and like our friend Katie who do things that are normal things, like watching sports or cooking
Mm-hmm.
or playing video games or whatever. And just all you have to do is not be insane and
A
you are
wind's
winning.
bag. Yeah.
This is why I think Hallow actually stands, it's not in competition with like the satanic, it's actually in competition with like those stupid, insanely annoying, ridiculously poorly contrived Daily Wire comedy cartoons. I freaking hate those. All of the jokes are about liberals and they're all about good conservative values. And it's not funny. And it actually makes me mad because it's like you could just make a good cartoon that doesn't espouse the talking points of the institutional media every 5 seconds. And that would radicalize people, Like the entire online right-wing movement has happened because some dudes just started to get jacked and they just posted pictures of themselves. And then guys were like, I want to be jacked. And it wasn't like jacked. I'm jacked because I hate the libs. It was just like, I'm jacked and you should be jacked. Like there needs to be like a radical simplicity. And I think we need more things that go in that direction. Hallow is obviously like a religious thing and it stands on its own. But I think there need to be more things that just are good and not like the Daily Wire, dude. Oh, it makes me mad. What is it called? Brambletown? What's the name of that stupid show? Daily Wire. I'm going to make sure none of you guys watch this show.
You mean conservative Bluey?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which
is really funny because Bluey is not. There's no like liberal coding in Bluey. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. Other than that, they're blue and Democrats vote blue.
Yeah, and they're in Australia.
It's called Mr. Bircham.
No, I don't know. That's not what I was talking about.
Well, I'm talking about Mr. Bircham. I don't care about Bluey. I don't give a rat's hat about Bluey. Yeah, it's Mr. Bircham. And it's like the main character is a kind of a middle-aged man with a mustache who doesn't understand his son who's a gamer, and he's annoyed at the students at the school that he teaches. He's just like, how am I going to get around in this? It's Home Improvement, but worse. Home Improvement was good because it didn't suck. Man. We just need, all right. Anyway, I'm done talking about that. But that's the space that I think Hallow needs and other things need to start to compete in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Hallow is great. I love Hallow, even though they stopped sponsoring the podcast. I'll never forgive them.
Did they ever sponsor the podcast?
Now they had like an affiliate program we were a part of that we made very
Oh.
little money off of, and then they kind of didn't. They discontinued it because they got $10 million from Peter Thiel, which I do not blame
Yeah,
them
and it's
for.
like why do we need to work with the crunch when we're working with
Yeah,
that
they
guy?
were giving us like $10 every time someone got a free download, and we
They were
like,
giving us $10 per download?
mm-hmm,
Why didn't we exploit
something
the
like
heck out
that.
of that? That's a
I
lot
don't.
of
I
money. You
could have. We
you
could have
get
done more.
10,000 people to download it. That's $100,000.
Yeah,
Did you do the
we would
math?
never. We would we would never have gotten 10,000 people to
Everyone go to
download.
hallow.com/crunch to see if it still works.
All
Just
10,000
go
of you, please
just
go
go
to
try. Yeah, just go
yeah.
test it out for once for me.
All 10,000 of you, please go, and then you can each give us $10, or you could just go to patreon.com/the crunch. It's not the end of the
Works too.
show. Don't stop.
That
We're
works
not
too.
we're
It's
not
not the
done
end of
yet.
the show. No, we're not done. Sorry that I got mad about Mr. Burcham.
No, I get it because the Mr. Bertram thing is sucking on the tailpipe of culture. It's trying to, it's doing
Just a guy trying to
it's
smoke
bad,
weed really bad, and he's
really
just all like,
bad.
he can't figure
He's
out
killing
how to
himself.
do it, so he's just killing himself by trying to smoke tailpipe smoke. Oh, poor guy.
That tailpipe. It's just not. Yeah, it's loser behavior, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's
It's not
not
creating anything.
creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like Hallow was like, it was inspired by something that is
Mm-hmm.
very secular, which is a meditation app. That's like
The
it's styled out
mindfulness
of that.
app,
It's yeah.
Calm, whatever it's called. Patrick's gone. Is my internet down? Oh dear. Okay.
Anyway,
What
it's
I forget what you were saying.
Calm app. You were talking about the Calm app. The Hallow is based off of meditation apps, but it was
Yeah.
creative in the sense that they took it and they moved it like, they started off normal like rosary stuff, but then they did,
Mm-hmm.
let's do family mass prep. Let's, put the Bible in a year on there. It's,
Right.
they they have a creative team that's working on good things, strategic partnerships. Like
Yeah.
that's
And this is
they're
where I think
creative and they're not like just trying to copy someone else's homework, I guess is
yeah.
the thing. It's a very pro
This
Hallow
yes.
podcast, but
I'm very pro Hallow. This is going to sound very anti the thing I'm about to say, but it's not. This is why I think Catechism in a year was a failure of a successor to Bible in a year, because it was sucking its own tailpipe. Does that make sense?
yeah,
You know?
the question was, let's do like why was the solution do something new instead of do something more or do something better, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
how can we make this like Hallow? When they were growing, they weren't like, what if we made another app that
Right.
was for studying Catholicism?
Yes.
Like, what if we made
I think.
another app that's
Yeah.
for sharing your faith? They were like, we're just going to do the thing we're doing really well. And so for
Right.
Ascension, it was
Just
like,
do it better.
let's do another book study. Well, what if we just did the Bible in a year but made it even better? Which I think they are doing. But what if they took all the resources for Catechism in a year and made it so that like the Bible in a year is now a video course, and like like just
Yeah.
really just give away so much. They
Right.
they did more better new stuff like the journal and the
Sure.
all that jazz. But I think it
What
was a
if
mistake
they
to
made
just go to a new
what if
thing.
they made Catholicism in a year? Or I don't know how they would say it, but it's like
Yeah.
combine, like if your friend is an atheist, get him on part 1, Like that would be a really interesting project, to go from atheism to Catholicism in 365 days of content. Way harder to do, but than just like
Yes.
reading through a book that already exists. But like that is the type of thing, like, man, that would be really compelling, especially for the people that are out there
A book
searching.
a book that's not really meant to be read through is the other piece of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Could we make Catholicism
Catechism.
in a year?
Aren't we trying
That's a
to
good
do that?
idea. Yeah.
Oh,
We are.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll do it not as branded. I think the problem is that the good people at Ascension Press saw that Father Mike Schmidt's plus podcast make number go up, and so they're like, well, let's just Control
do
C,
it
Control
again.
V until the number doesn't go up anymore. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I felt feel bad for Father Mike because like I know he's doing, but eventually he's gonna get like roped into doing something that like really isn't gonna work, and like I don't know, then he's gonna be stuck. Does he have a contract? How does that work when you're like famous but you're poor?
Yeah, he's famous, but he's just a guy, and Father Mike, he's not one to seek it out. You know,
No, no,
I don't know. I think the good people at Ascension Press doing an app. I think that was a solid move because I do stand by what
totally.
I said.
I do like their
The
app.
app is the
Yeah.
best way to do the Bible in a year. It is the absolute
Yes.
best way. It gives you
Yeah.
the satisfaction of tracking your progress. It gives you that. You can go to ascensionapp.com/. I don't actually know what our code is, but you should
I don't know
find it
either.
on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
I'm
do
not
think
saying that to
that,
criticize Ascension. I just think that the Catechism in a Year was a misstep, and that makes me sad because it's like they do such good work when they do it, and it's like, man, you did something that was like a 7 out of 10 when you could have followed up your 10 out of 10 with another 10 out of 10. And
yeah, you could have just knocked
because
it out of the
you
park. Yeah.
right, so I think even if they had given it a year or like an extra 6 months, so that it wasn't like after this year's done, we have another thing right away. Give yourself some time, to really make something cool. But what do I know? I'm not in the. I'm a
I'm
guy
not
with a
as
podcast, so I don't
anti-catechism
know
in a
anything.
year as Ethan is. Ethan is very anti-catechism in a year.
No,
I
nobody
just think
is.
I just think you
I'm
have to
not
be
anti
you
it.
have to
I'm
recognize.
pro things good.
I just think that
I don't
the
know.
this is it's because and this is what it is. It's because it wasn't going to be as good as Bible in a year because Bible in a year is very win. It's very entry level. Someone goes, "Cool, I want to go through the Bible in a year." That's great. Non-Catholic, Catholics,
Mm-hmm.
non-Catholics. When
Yeah.
I told our Protestant doula that Father Mike Schmidt, she's like, "Oh, I've heard of him. Like he's doing." By the way, she started doing Bible in a year. She's Protestant. A bunch of non-Catholics went through that.
Oh.
No non-Catholic is going to go through Catechism in a year. I maybe I'm wrong, but it's a very
I
special
don't
kind
think
of
you are.
person. But it's
Right.
it's very
It's
much like
like
it's very much
Calvinists
like
that
Catholic
know
canon.
inherently that Calvinism isn't biblical. Like those are the types of
Yeah,
people that go through Catechism in a year. You know,
yeah. And so
not just your average
it
person.
just, I mean, you can kind of tell based on their marketing pivot to, hey, go listen to Bible in a Year on the Ascension app that the Catechism in a Year was not the hit that the Bible in a
Oh
Year
yeah,
was.
that's true. Dang.
Mhm. So I think they figured it
Doth
out.
mine
But no, I
doth
think
mine
I
ears
think
deceive me?
but it's great that the Ascension app is like the next step after Hallow.
It's good.
You know,
Yeah, right.
it's
That's
great.
true.
It's the
It is
next
kind.
step.
It is kind of cool that everyone is on the same team at least. Like we're all trying to get everybody to be
Trying to
Catholic
get
and
them
to
in.
worship Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's cool that Hallow would have no problem handing someone off to Ascension, even though in theory they're like competitors. But like it feels like we're at least in a good like there's enough goodwill amongst everyone
Mm-hmm.
where there's no like. That's the nice thing about having one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church is that there's no fighting. Well, there's sometimes fighting,
It's not
but
scarce. It's not scarce.
yeah, right.
I
We don't have
work
to
in
hoard anything because
yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome. I love working in play like I love working with people and in markets and in communities where there is not a sense of scarcity. I may have told this
yeah.
story on the podcast. I do print
Tell it
marketing as my
again.
day job. I do
Mm.
print marketing as my day job. I went to a
I
networking
do
event.
digital marketing as my day job.
Yeah, the yin and the
We're
yang.
just saying.
I do print marketing as my day job, and I went to this networking event that was like one person per specialty allowed. It's like one person per
Mm-hmm.
vertical, is what they said. And
Right.
I went as a guest, and someone there was the guy who had run the Brevard County magazine for 25 years.
Oh wow.
He's like, yeah, and I stood up and said what I did. He stood up and said what he does, and I was like, oh crap, this all of these guys are his friends. Later, I was like, they're all his clients
Yep.
too. Like they all advertise
Yeah.
in his magazine. And I asked for a referral because that's what you do. Like I'm looking for lawn care guys, and he gave me a lawn care referral to go into my magazine. Like he gave me a lead that was giving him
Mm-hmm.
money, and he was like, this guy loves
Right.
print. He'll do it. And like that's the kind of attitude that
That's
I wish
awesome.
we had in the Catholic Church. I later found out that he's Christian, so
Ah,
he
that'll
lives
do
that
it.
abundance lifestyle. And I
Right.
I tell that story because it's like that's the kind of attitude that we should have as Christians. That there's room for everyone to do the
Mm-hmm.
things that they want to do. Is like let's just do it together. Like the silo thing is a huge problem. I don't want people stepping on my
Mm-hmm.
turf. There's already a young adult group. We can't have another one. Like those kinds of
Yeah.
attitudes are really harmful
Mm-hmm.
and they're not helpful. It's like we can all work together. Like let's not exclude someone because they don't fit in. Let's not, whatever.
Yeah.
There's plenty of souls to save. There's room for Coke
Yes.
and Pepsi.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing with like that report about the Vatican that came out. It was like people were losing their minds, like, oh, I can't believe the Dicastery for Communications has a budget of $38 million. That's so much money. It's like, man, I really just wish people understood like the amount of money that exists, the amount of resources that are out there. Like, or people complaining about how much the Hallow ad costs, which we now see is like a baseless complaint because
Yeah,
obviously it
it worked.
provided way more dividends. It worked. So it's like, we just got to break out of like being itty bitty teeny tiny and realize that like God has everything and like can give us everything, and there's certainly periods where he's going to withdraw his, he's going to like let us be poor and let us be a weak and small little church. But there's also times where he's going to give wealth and flourishing and all those things. And so it's like, you kind of just have to operate in complete trust. Like, I'm going to try big things because God does big things. And so like, why say no to yourself and to God before you even start? And so I think people need to be a bit more brave, be a bit more courageous.
Were you referring to the budget from the Vatican that said that the dicastery for the doctrine of faith, $2 million. The dicastery for laity and family life, $2 million. And the communications secretariat had $38 million. There's several different reactions to this. One is, oh, that's way too much money, $38 million. Yeah. My reaction is, first of all, those two only get $38 million. Also, those two only get $2 million? And what are they spending the $38 million on? Rupnik art? Which is not just bad because he's an abuser. It's also bad.
It's also bad art.
It's just bad art. Like,
Yeah.
Like, oh, Marco Rupnik abused people. Yeah. Bad. Very bad. But also the art has always been bad. I'm the same way with David Haas or Marty Hagen or whichever one abused people. I'm like, we can't play his music anymore. He's an abuser. Also, it sucks.
Out of here. Also, his music is so bad.
We shouldn't play anything from the 70s until we check all of their hard drives.
Would it be wrong to honeypot every living Catholic artist from the 70s to try and get them lightly convicted of something that, not reputation? I'm not saying we ruin their reputation.
No.
Or put their souls at risk, or put any innocent people at risk whatsoever.
No.
I'm just saying there's got to be a way where we can orchestrate something.
Some kind of, maybe embezzlement.
And right? That would be nice, right? Like, oh, wouldn't it be great to launder this money through this LLC over that? It's actually great. I'm an accountant, but I'm really with the FBI, and then we get him.
And then
he goes to jail for 6 months. He goes to jail for 6 months. He goes to confession, and we never have to hear his music again.
Like minimum security prison, yeah.
Yeah, I think this works out for everybody. All right, Jim Caviezel, if you're listening, we want you on the show. We don't think you have brain damage. David Haas, if you're listening, we want you in jail. It's not personal. It's just because of the music that you wrote with your mind and your hands.
Every single one of the St. Louis Jesuits. Make sure you're on the up and up because we're gonna find something. Oh, we're gonna find something.
Get you.
And when something happens, we're never gonna hear it again. I thought that my home parish was bad. I went to a neighboring parish, dude. Ash Wednesday, dangerous. They hit, the Lord is my light and my salvation. They hit that Willy Wonka music. By the way, that song came out after Willy Wonka, so they did steal that.
That's really funny.
They did steal that. Isn't that funny?
I never thought of that being a Willy Wonka tune, but now that you're singing it,
it's the Willy Wonka tune. Yeah,
it is. Oh dear. Okay, well, that's it for us. We've got another show that we do on Wednesdays called Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner, so go ahead and check that out in a couple of days. You can find us on Discord. We have a great Discord community, bit.ly/crunch discord. And if you like this episode, you like this podcast, you like what we're trying to do, you want us to be the next Peter Thiel-esque figures.
Yeah.
In Catholicism, you go to patreon.com/thecrunch. You can subscribe. $10 a month gets you a bonus podcast and our eternal love and care. I'll put you in a nursing home if I have to. Because
you be Peter Thiel, I'll be Hulk Hogan, and together we will take down David Haas as Gawker.
Why do I have to be the homosexual billionaire and you get to be Hulk Hogan?
I'll let you go to youtube.com/thecrunch if you want to see why.
Sure. All right, let's end the podcast.
I'm sorry, that was mean. I didn't mean it.
That's all right. It's all right. I'm sure Peter, he's a great guy. I'm just happily married to a woman. So.
Confirm.
What did you say? Like you don't believe me. Patrick, do you have anything else for the people?
I posted the video. I'll post the video in the Discord of the sheep. You guys should check it out. It is legitimately funny. I laughed for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. Please pray for us. We will be praying for you, and we will see you all next time.